Welcome back to the Brick Abbey, continuing our build here with Yoda, and we're going to combine again the sort of opening of the bags and the organization spaced throughout this build. And we do have our table mic on. You can hear that. I'm gonna jump right in because I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get all three of these bags. So let's see if we can do this. This is going to be a bit of a test if I estimated this properly, because these next three bags are all before we start building the head. And if you look here, if you've been kind of tracking along with us, I've been going back to the front and just kind of speculating what I could do. And you can see 9, 10, and 11 will be the head. Oh, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13 looks like. Wow. And then the lightsaber. So I wanted to do these bags together, and we'll see how it turns out. We've been getting great response. We're wanting to get the Yoda complete. We might actually increase our upload rhythm just a little bit so that we can get our Hogwarts. We got a really cool Hogwarts one coming for you guys. Hope you enjoy it. The Hogwarts Legacy game is obviously coming out, and we're thinking that'd be a really great time to have a series of Hogwarts, the houses, the crests hitting. Somebody was kind enough to send me that one. It's basically a 4-in-1 set. You can kind of do the mosaics for each house, and so we'll have a series for each one of those. I don't know how long those take. Feel free to leave a comment below if you've ever done one of those, with a guess if you've got one. Okay, so I think this will work. This is going to take some time, but I am going to try to go a little fast. We like the content to feel we like it to feel a little bit laid back, but at the same time, I need to make sure that the organization vids don't go too long, because I think they're helpful and I think they're enjoyable, but we also want to make sure that the content is consumable. We appreciate all the positive feedback we have received from everybody that has subscribed to the channel. I'm sort of seeking out the biggest pieces. That'll thin this area out really, really fast if we can get rid of the biggest pieces first, and then we can get down into the particulars, the little guys. And the last organization that I did got demolished. I was trying to figure out how to record the minifigs. If you guys have been enjoying those shorts, let us know what you think. We've also got some different style shorts planned as well that should start hitting from full builds. Just a nice spin to show off a full build, and those should be hitting around now. And that's just a great way to kind of show off some of the stuff that we've done, and to maybe meet some new people that might enjoy our full series builds that we do. And some of those should be in the wild by the time this recording hits. I don't have a rigid timeline in my head, because some of this we kind of do when I have time. This is not my full-time gig, as it were. We got a lot of different things that we do for our gaming content coverage, and that obviously takes a lot of precedence. And I want to pull out all of the I've never done the organization this way before, but I think this is going to help make it a little bit better. We've also got a lot of pieces in this size that we're likely are just going to come down over here on the left with. Anything in this ballpark is going to end up over here. But the big, thick pieces, we need to get those kind of out of the way so we can see what we're doing out here in the middle. It's a lot of pieces for these 3 bags. I hope I didn't make a bad decision here. We'll find out by the end of this video if I did or not. We'll see if we run out of space. I don't think that we will. I think we'll be okay. But I do think these bigger sets are going to be a bit of an experiment and a work in progress, because we've got the original Nintendo, that set that comes with like a television. That one's got a lot of pieces. The Millennium Falcon. There's a lot of different Millennium Falcons out there, but the set that we have is pretty good sized. And yeah, that one's gonna take some time, I bet. Not surprising that some of the bigger sets are extremely popular and a little pricey. So we appreciate the people kind of supporting what we're doing here, because I did not have to go out of my way to kind of fund this, and we appreciate that support very, very much, because this channel is obviously very, very young, and it's gonna get there one day. That's the idea, and that slow journey, I hope you guys remember these early days when we were just starting out, and I'm enjoying it. That's the nature of work like this, is you can't see the end of the road, so you kind of have to just keep going and hope for the best, obviously, and enjoy it along the way. That's the key, I think, to this kind of content. If you really want it to be enjoyed and loved by people, you have to enjoy it and love it first. At least that's what I think. And I think that's a difficult thing to do in this space, because obviously if videos are not, successful, or a channel's not successful, you might think that, well, maybe the content's bad, or maybe I'm not doing a good job. But I think some of the times it's just the nature of the business. It's going to take a really, really long time. I have a lot of projects right now, a lot of shows that I do, a lot of channels, and I think that can help, if you have other things to really devote yourself to. Those things, they should be your primary focus. And if they are, well, then it doesn't matter if the new thing isn't doing as well or going slow. Just keep giving it as much time as you can, and let it kind of grow, on its own. This is going to be really, really tight over here. I'm going to take it all the way down, a whole lot further than I typically do. It kind of forces me to turn my head a little bit in the recording, and I'm not sure how far out I have to come. Okay, right about there. Okay, so my head's not getting in the shot. I can't tell if it is. I would be honest with you. I'm turning to the side to set these pieces, and I cannot actively look up at the monitor and see if my big old noggin is getting into the shot. And wow, we have a lot of pieces here. I think we'll have to have these 3x2s. They're gonna have to come out. There's so many of them down here. We haven't even started doing the squares. We can start to maybe preemptively put them up there, and this is gonna be a line across the bottom. We want to keep it a little bit straighter then I had it. And that way, excuse me, that way it can come out and have plenty of space. We also have to remember not to go too far out. We have to have an area to build in. That is always a dilemma when you have this many pieces. Now, I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing in this section, but we'll see. Are we going to be just, tacking on to our good friend Yoda over there, or are we going to be building pieces first to then take over to him? I'm not actually sure. So that will be something we have to kind of discover as we go. Let's get these out. I think we're making pretty good progress here, though. Moving at a good pace, but I don't want to go fast. We sort of have found our way into a very relaxing style format, and we don't want to short circuit that. There's people that are hitting subscribe on this channel because the content's hitting a certain tone with them, and we don't want to take that from you, even when we feel a slight bit of pressure. At least I do sometimes. I feel a little bit of a pressure to move at a good pace, I don't know how long this is going to take when I dump the pieces out. I just sort of go. and because of that, you can end up with videos that get a little bit longer. And nobody has seemed to complain, so I hope you guys are enjoying the videos, even though there's varying degrees of length. We do that sometimes with video games with the kiddos. It's like I try to set a time for how long they can play, but if you're familiar with video games, you know that sometimes you're not quite to a save point, or you're not quite to a stopping point. It can be really hard to do that. My daughter really struggles with that with reading. She loves to read. She's devouring chapter books at this point. She's a good little reader. She's only 9. She'll be 10 much later this year, but she's very excited about that, double digits. And she's all about reading right now, and it'll be time for bed, and I'll say, hey, it's time for bed. I kind of come up and give them their heads up about that. And she's like, I'm not at a good stopping point. I'm like, girl, if the book is written well, it almost always will feel that way. Every time a chapter ends, they want you to feel that pull to keep reading, and that's the sign of a good book. So I say, my kiddos call bookmarks chapters. They're like, I need a chapter. And we don't correct them on some of those things because we think some things are too adorable to fix. You're like, no. You gotta let them call it that for a while because it's cute. And so I'm like, listen, I'm gonna get a chapter. Just put it in there. You can pick up where you left off tomorrow. And usually she goes along with it. Sometimes I think it's harder for kids to see the situation. They're stuck in the narrow, right? They get on this little narrow view of something that I must finish it, and it can be hard to zoom out. We've tried to help her with that a little bit. The idea of like, if she wants to set an alarm, and I'm not making this up. She's 9 and she likes to set an alarm for the next day, so that she can get up and have time to herself before the school day starts. She likes to listen to audiobooks in the morning. And that tells me, she'll be very successful in anything she does. Like at that age, to take that ownership of the day, that's huge. And I don't really get to take credit for that. I did not ever give her those ideas. I think it was her love of reading, just drove her to want to be up in the morning and kind of doing that. And so we do our best to celebrate and instill that kind of stuff in our kids. But like anything, it can become too important. We had to take her phone away one day and just say, hey, listen, you've been kind of struggling with getting up and getting going in the mornings, and that's been very frustrating for mama, and no stories tomorrow morning. And she was devastated, and she said, but I have my routine. And it's hard when when your child's upset. You don't want to laugh at them. You don't want to create this weird feeling of like they're being mocked or not sympathized with. But it was so hard not to smile, because there was something like adorably honest about it. My routine. And I thought that's not something that goes away. Like even now, like if somebody messes with my routine, I don't, obviously, thankfully I don't fall to pieces, but it's kind of hard not to, like when you run out of coffee, or your favorite bagels, or there's no milk, or all those things that can kind of trip you up in the morning. I definitely felt her pain, but we stuck to our guns. We said no, and it worked. The next morning she was up. She was a little bit more snappy to do what was required of her. And then she was very pleased to have it back the next morning. I said, look, this is something that you get to maintain. This is yours. And it only gets taken away when you fail to do what's expected of you or whatever. And she very much is a kid that needs to have that positive reinforcement. Some kids respond a little bit better to negative reinforcement. Like my son, he's much better if you just separate him from the group or take something away. That's a very strong motivator for him, to do what he ought to do. And with her, it's more like the positive reinforcement. If she sketches something or cleans her room, she really wants you to see it, and she really wants you to kind of give her the praise for doing it. And that's just an area where I am more prone to do the positive reinforcement, and my wife's a little bit more prone to do the negative reinforcement. And so we balance each other out in that way, and that's good. And so sometimes I'm like, hey, you got to be a little bit more on the positive reinforcement side with her. It's not in your nature, but you need, it helps her. And then sometimes she's telling me, you need to have, be more firm with consequences, And so I think that's helped with harmony and balance in our home. Honesty and that kind of loving pushback and pressure, not being flimsy, but also not being harsh, It's hard to find that. It's really, really hard to find that center lane, but when you can get there, it's real sweet. It can be really enjoyable, especially in a relationship, because then you can feel safe to voice a concern or a complaint, or to advocate for your needs or something like that. You'll be more emboldened to do that if you feel like it's a safe relationship. If there's an endurance there, if there's a durability, you'll step out and trust that you won't be rejected or judged for saying, hey, I think you need to work on this, or I feel like you were a little harsh the other day. See, I knew there was going to be one more square. I left a space for it. I felt it. I just had that instinct. See, now is when things slow down a little bit. We're getting down into these little teeny guys. All these 2s and 1s are really going to slow us down. Gonna make it tough to move quick. I kind of feel like this happens almost every time I do an organization vid. There's always the quick open, and then we hit the real rubber of, the rubber meets the road, I should say, where, oh wow, there's so many little pieces, right? So what I might do, for the sake of efficiency, I'm going to move all these guys up, because these guys are big and they're pretty easy to organize. We're going to have to take all these 2s, right? And we might be a little less persnickety about their how they end up. Especially the single stud ones. I might just put those in a pile. I hope that's okay with you. I'm going to warn you now, all you guys out there, all you guys and gals out there who get a little, maybe you really enjoy the balance and the approach here. It's not perfect. I mean, you can see it's a little rough. Not every edge is a super straight line. But I think I might have to put those in a pile, because if I don't, the concern would be it's just going to take a lot of time to get those guys in a nice straight line. Even these 2s, I'm being a little bit more haphazard with it. And I hope that's okay with you. I say that half in jest, but half seriously, because it's a bit of a commitment to come along with me in a video like this. Throw me on in the background and listen to my meandering stream of consciousness. But the visual appeal, I think many people have come to appreciate. So I don't want to sour that for you. But I think we're making really great progress. This is turning out to be pretty good. I was a little worried when we got started. I thought, oh no, there's a lot of pieces here. This could go poorly. We're not done yet. I guess I shouldn't get ahead of myself. We may end up ending this video and concluding that I don't quite have the space that I need. But the beauty of Legos is that once you start building, you start gaining ground, you start gaining space back, and that's always nice. So we may have a little bit of a challenge at the beginning of the next video. Just a little. Yeah, see these 2s going a little bit faster, and I think that's okay if we end up a little bit more bunched up over here, and a little maybe less. We're not quite laser lined, and that's all right. Let's get them nice and positioned across the top here. Let's slide those 3s over just a touch and get them out of the way. And I just have to make sure. Oh, see, the microphone's coming into the shot. I could sense it. Sense a disturbance in the force. I thought, we're going a little bit too far forward. Okay. It's like when you watch really old movies and all of a sudden, watch here, I'll do it. All of a sudden, a little bit of a boom mic, right? It's like you watch those old movies. I think that M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening, I think he did that on purpose in a couple of shots. He didn't tell anybody this. Maybe he should have. Maybe he shouldn't have made the movie to begin with, but I guess he was going for old B movie. That's why the acting and the writing is a little not great. It's on purpose. It's by design. Because I was watching it and thinking, this is so odd. You know, some of these people, I know they're good actors. You know, why are they delivering their lines in such a way? There was an oddity about it. There was a detectable amount of strangeness. And it was on purpose, apparently, which I think was I think on paper, it's creative. That's a creative, artistic idea. But in execution, I think a lot of people just said this was a bad movie. I don't think people walked away thinking, well, that was a really creative take on, the classic B movie, horror B movie, kind of cheesy, kind of corny. We have Korean friends, and I said corny once. I think we were talking about superhero movies and how, some of the earlier superhero movies were a little corny, and because it's an idiom, they weren't familiar with it. They were like, corny. They're like, what does that mean? What? So I had to explain it, and the funny thing was, I immediately said, well, it means it's kind of cheesy, and then I had to laugh. I had to laugh. It's like, oh, well, that doesn't help, does it? Are you familiar with cheesy? Are you familiar with that other food, food-based idiom, which it makes sense of that, right? Why are we, I didn't do like an etymological study, like looking it up later to say, why on earth do we even say that? What's the root of that? Because it is a little strange if you think about it. Corny, cheesy, where did this start? So there you go, that you can do that. I've created a mind splinter, something that you'll have to scratch at and solve later. You can go look that up. And then, hey, tell me in the comments below. I'll be so confused. I'm like, okay, why is this person giving me the etymology of cheesy and corny? Because by the time this publishes, this will be a distant memory for my mind. That'll be good. Little seeds, little fun seeds of interaction like that, I think can be a blast. There's not a ton of them. There's not as many as I thought. I'm gonna give them a very rough organization right here along this edge. So I warned you they were just going to end up in a pile, but they're not. They're going to end up slightly organized here. I think I'm going to leave this area here for build. I think we'll be okay. I don't think we're going to run out of space, because these thick ones I can slide up, and the black and the burgundy and the yellow and all there's a very, very small amount of those pieces. Those will bunch up nicely up there. I am going to go kind of quick here though. So these little single studs are not going to be perfect, all right? I'm looking through the microphone right now. I'm just going to give you a little behind the scenes commentary there. I can't really see. I can see what I'm doing, but the microphone is in the way. It's one of the dilemmas. My producer has been wanting to get me. We call it a Britney mic. Like a mic that you wear on the side of your head. That would definitely make these easier to do, but I think you'd lose that really nice vocal quality that we get on this microphone, because it's going through a mixer. It's a really high quality mic. I think you'd lose some of that, and that bassy rumble that we kind of get as I kind of, I'm not doing a softly spoken thing, because there are people that do that. They would do something a little bit more like this, and we're not doing that. I think that takes a little bit too much mental effort for the vibe that we go for. Like, I just kind of talk. I'm obviously speaking in a more softer tone than I do for my other shows. But I think you'd lose some of that if we went with one of those microphones. I don't think they quite hit the same depth of sound that we get from this mic. I love this mic. It's been with me for a long time. Faithful, Shure SM7B. And it's been a reliable and good piece of tech that has made me sound really good. I'll get compliments on my voice, and I always appreciate that. That's one of the compliments I think I really enjoy the most. You know, I've had people tell me, you obviously can't see me in this content, but other people tell me, you know, they like my hair or they think I'm good looking. The good looking one's actually rare. I'm not begging for compliments. It just isn't as common. It's usually that they like my glasses or that they like my hair. But the compliments on my voice, I particularly enjoy those compliments. I'm always jealous of a really good bassy voice. Whenever we watch Downton Abbey, the main butler had a fantastic voice. I always forget his name. And then Matthew, his name's a little bit easier to remember because he was kind of like center stage. Well, the butler was like a super main character too. I always feel bad about forgetting his name. I should do a better job of remembering that. But I was always jealous of that voice. Oh, so much bass and baritone. Or like Christopher Judge with Kratos, you know? Boy, just gets way down there. No. Super, super rumbly. You know, I can kind of replicate it, but there's no rumble. That guy's voice just... You could peel paint with it if you channeled it properly. In a good way. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Sometimes voices can hit a certain tone that it makes somebody hard to listen to. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy a compliment on my voice is usually high praise, because it means, you know, they're enjoying more than what I'm saying. They're enjoying more than just the content. They're enjoying sort of part of the fabric of the content, I guess, would be how I would say it. It's not just, you know, oh, I really like what you're saying, or I really agree with what you're saying. It's, you know, you are very pleasant to listen to. That makes somebody, I think, in my line of work feel good. I've had people tell me I should get into voice work. Have no idea how to do that. I don't even know where to begin. I do voices for my kids. This channel is called The Brick Abbey, inspired by Redwall Abbey. Come on down here, you little guy. And I do voices for my kids. In those sessions where we're reading, these guys just want to keep rolling, so I'm going to turn them to the side. They're starting to annoy me. You can only do something so many times. See what I'm saying? And it starts to undo what you're doing. It's like, is that alive? It's like, put it here. Nope, rolls back. Put it here. Nope, rolls back. It's like, okay, buddy. You almost start to speak to inanimate objects as if they have a mind of their own, because they can do that, you know? Sometimes if you drop something and you go to pick it up and you just totally whiff and you go on this like glitch in the matrix sort of reach down and grab like rapidly, it's like you go down and miss, you go down and miss, you go down and miss, and suddenly it's like you almost catch yourself, you know, like, is there something, what's the matter with me? Why can't I grab this? And it's funny because you get frustrated, but it's like, who are you frustrated, or what are you frustrated with? It's your own fault. You're not grabbing the thing. You get frustrated at the item, you know. Let me pick you up, you know. If I stub my toe or something, or pinch my finger, the object that does it is met with fury. It is met with fury. You know, if tables and chairs could talk, you know, what would they say? You know, like, you know, that guy is so clumsy. He walks through here and hits his foot on me, and it's my fault. You know, Like I closed the door on his own finger and it's my fault. It's funny. But at the same time, it's kind of not funny, you know, getting that angry about something. Oh, we had some squares here that I didn't see. So let's bring these down. Oh, well, that lined up nicely. Look at that. Little 3 rows of 3. And we'll bring these squares in. Just like that. That'll work. That looks nice. And then this lonely guy. Well, this turned out rather well, if I do say so myself, and I will say so myself because I'm the only one here right now. But this is not bad. This is not bad. I was a little nervous when we started, you know. I was like, I don't know, man. That's a lot of pieces, but we got it done. I'll be very careful. I've got tons of shorts recorded for like all the way to mid-February, so I don't have to worry about dropping a weight here. I have a nice section for my build, and we didn't go too far over 30 minutes, 36, but hey, I hope you enjoyed this continued work on the Lego Star Wars Yoda set, some organization. We'll get to building in the next video. Thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed here to the Brick Abbey.